My campaign has been about grassroots. I haven't accepted any PAC money. I haven't accepted any business money. I've turned that down because I feel like it's my constituents' voice that I want to help. And I have decided to do this video to you because I want your vote. I'm passionate about that. And I'm sorry if you need to delete it, but if you're engaged and you're interested, I want to make a difference in your life. And so I'm that passionate that I want to at least send you this email to say, let's meet, because I haven't met everybody. I've been at the farmers market, I've been to different forums, but I haven't met everybody, and I want everybody to know me. So I grew up in an educated family. My dad was a junior high principal. My mother was a 5th grade school teacher. So very modest incomes. I had four of us in our family that they were raising. I was second in line. I loved coming to Iowa to get my education up at Coe College, played basketball, tennis, sang in the choir, and fell in love with the people of Iowa. And that's what drew me down to Iowa City. And I have been in this community for 40 years, right here with you. And I've been through all these things, the floods of '93, '08, the tornado that ripped through, and then this derecho the last 2 years. And I am passionate about the people that I have been taking care of for 40 years. I want to help more people. I'm in this race. I want your vote. I want to turn things around for education, small business, our immigrant population, and women's rights. One of the privileges that I had in this community was bringing up my 3 children. They went through the school systems here and had a wonderful experience. We're seeing a slide in education now where they're pulling programs away. We're not supporting our teachers. The curriculum is being taught in a specific way, and there's no way the teachers can do the work that they've been trained to do. We need to turn that around. I love Iowa City because it's a very intellectual town. I came here because I could be sitting at a coffee table with people that had high education degrees, and we could have an intellectual conversation. And that's what's so special about Iowa City. People are very passionate in this town about education, about our children, and that's what drew me to Iowa City. There was a point in the raising of my children in which I was the single dad responsible when they were 8, 10, and 12. And it was very difficult, but it really was a team effort because this community, my business, my employees, they knew I prioritized my children. And I think being a parent is one of the toughest jobs you can have. And I think that we need to let our children grow up and experience things for themselves and make their own choices. My mother, when growing up, she said, own your own behavior, clean up your mess, and do your best. And I feel like that those are mottos that we can give our children all the time if we let them experience life, but then have that motto that they need to be responsible and own their own behavior, and that they always need to be striving to do their best. I think the biggest 3 things that are going on at the state level is the divisiveness. We have a democracy in peril. We're saying who's right, who's wrong. Well, I want to be that leader that says we got to get off that fence and we got to think about it in terms of what's good for all Iowans and leave nobody behind. Because once we can do that and get rid of this bickering, then those issues that are small issues won't even be legislated. That overreach won't even be legislated because we're thinking down the road. We are excited about all Iowans like we were proud when we were #1 in education. That's why I'm so passionate about we've got to get education back on track, because that affects every domain of life that we think of, is when people can learn and become knowledgeable, and then that spreads. So small business is a passion of mine because I've seen how we're letting down those small business owners that have had to close shops after the floods and after the derecho. We need to make sure that they can get back on their feet, and we need to have programs in place that they can do that without relying on the federal government. So when it comes to funding for education, higher education, I know that some of the other Democrats are saying that maybe we should have free education. I'm kind of a firm believer that really nothing should be free and that we shouldn't be paying for people's college loans. But what we can do is that if they make an investment and they stay here, that makes a lot of sense to say, yes, if you become a nurse and you want to stay in Iowa, we'll do a collaborative program between the state and your employer to make sure that that debt gets paid if you stay here for 5 years or 10 years. That makes sense because then they meet somebody, they get married, they buy a house. There's an economic impact besides the money that we're investing in that will come back to us 2 or 3-fold if we let people know we want you here. I think we need to look at education a little bit more broadly too, because we need to look at that not everybody needs to go to have a 4-year education. We have some of the best community colleges too, but we need to look at those trade programs because right now we're down on employees in those trades. And how are we going to take this $1 billion that the federal government gave to the state of Iowa and build roads and bridges and internet to small towns if we don't have people in those trades? We need to be thinking ahead and saying, we need peoples, we need workers, we need people that can be our plumbers, our electricians, and go straight into those trades of their passion and be car mechanics and these kinds of things. There's room for that because we can make it happen.
How?
We have to invest in those programs. We have to see who's doing it now, how we can attract those people at an early stage. Because some people in high school know already where their passion is and where they would like to be headed. And so we need to inspire them to say, hey, well, we've got a fast track for you. Would you like to do this? And then they don't have to go to that 4-year college. They can go right into that trade that they have a passion for, and they can be mentored along the way, internship programs that bring people along so they can experience it. A lot of young people don't really know what they want to do, but if they experience it, they'll know what they want to do. I learned early on when I started a scratch agency, had no clients, being self-employed is tough, it's hard. That's why we need to support small business. In my business, I am a multi-line agent, so I sell home, car, auto, commercial business, life, health, and I have the pleasure of signing my name to my work. Right now, the state of Iowa is not supporting our small business owner because the facts are that small business owners are 92% of all businesses in Iowa, and it's 80% of the revenue that's going to the state of Iowa, which is a big deal. That's indirect or direct. And the reason it's a big deal is that small business owners have just like this one playbook, like get an SBA loan that's federally funded. The state needs to do more to invest in small business. It's our entrepreneurs that will take that money and go out and make their business successful. We need to bridge that gap because to be in small business, you have ups and downs and you need support along the way. Well, our water quality here, if you talk to people that are down south in the Gulf of Mexico, they'll call it Little Iowa with all the algae and everything. It's not just Iowa. It's a little bit of Minnesota, too, that is contributing to that. But to have that stigma, we need to start working on that. And part of that is that we used to have 56,000 farmers that had cattle and hog, and now we got 6,000 because now they're big manufacturing. And some of the laws are that they can have so many in a container, but then they don't tell you how many containers they can have on the land. And so what we've got is we've got a problem of we're not funding the DNR, we're not doing the oversight, we're not making the fines, and we're not triggering people to make better decisions because we can solve this problem together. I think when it comes to looking at whatever negative things that are going on, that in order to turn that around to a positive is, again, not shouting, not raising the ceiling, but lowering the floor. Looking at the things that we do best here in Iowa. And that's why when we were #1 in education, we were a magnet. People came here specifically for that reason. We drew people here to the state of Iowa, and especially right here in District 45. Iowa City is unique, a lot of smart people, They have a lot of programs that they are initiating and starting with energy, with going green, but they're all in separate silos. And so somehow I think we need to take that organization of all of this effort and really say, well, let's dig in a little bit deeper, and let's not do the Lone Ranger thing, because these same things that are happening in our community are happening in the Quad Cities, they're happening in Des Moines, and we need to work as a group effort to say, how can we do this most efficiently, most effectively, and transparent? Over the last 10 years, when I've been doing my practice, many people have said, you seem to be very well-rounded and you seem to care a lot about things outside of your profession of insurance. And I said, yes, I'm very passionate about my community, and I would like to see us not be going backwards. And so when I'm talking to teachers and everything, I want to know that I had a background growing up, and I know how hard work it is, and I want to make a difference. And I think that takes leadership skills. And I think I have those leadership skills. I know I have those leadership skills to work across the aisle to tell Republicans and Democrats, we need a code of ethics that when that flag motto is out there, that we're following it and that we're not overreaching and that we're helping all of Iowans. I am proud of my family. I'm proud of my roots. I'm proud of this community, and I want your vote.